members of the military. The Chancellor will now formally open the Games.
I proclaim open the Olympic Games of Berlin, celebrating the 11th Olympiad of the modern Olympic era. Tens of thousands of pigeons were now given their freedom. The birds, symbol of peace, would spread their message to the world. An invisible signal directs them over the marathon gate and the altar that will hold the Olympic flame. Now the great moment has come. The Olympic flame arrives at the stadium. The flame has died. We're at the altar where the Olympic flame burned throughout the Berlin Games. I'm standing high above the marathon gate, the spot where the runners began and finished the most grueling of all Olympic events, the 26-mile marathon run. In 1936, the first man to march into the stadium, as he led the parade of nations, was a Greek shepherd, Spiridion Lewis, white-haired and old. Lewis had won the marathon race at the Greek Games in 1896. The course he ran was first run centuries ago in Greece when the Greek warrior Phidippides raced to bring the news from marathons to Athens of a great Greek victory over the Persians. He told the people of Athens, "Rejoice, we conquer." And then he dropped dead of exhaustion. Spiridion Lewis, the Greek shepherd, trained for his run at the Greek Games in 1896 by chasing his sheep over the countryside. We who were preparing to compete in Berlin in 1936 didn't have to do that. In fact, as long as a year before the Olympic Games, the men and women from the host nation were preparing themselves for great performances. Chancellor Hitler had let it be known that he wanted complete victory, both political and athletic, that his theory of racial supremacy was correct. I, too, at home in the United States, prepared myself for the Games.
I wanted to make the Olympic team very badly. The Nazi clubs, organizations, and youth groups sent forth their best athletes for the trials. They marched and sang wherever they went. I would try and make the Olympic team in 3 events. Here in the 100 meters, the broad jump, and the 200 meters. The Germans selected their team. I was to find out later there was a vast difference in the attitude of the majority of German athletes and their Nazi leaders in relation to Negro athletes. Their newspapers and propaganda spoke of us as black auxiliaries or black legions. But there is a bond among athletes of every race, religion, and color that transcends all prejudices. It is August 2nd, 1936, and the dramatic opening day ceremonies are over. The actual competition is ready to get underway. The 100-meter qualifying rounds were scheduled for the first day of competition. There were 12 qualifying heats, and the first and second place finishers would enter the quarterfinals, which would be run the same day. The next day, the semifinals and finals would be run. That meant 3 races before the finals. I was scheduled to run the 12th and final qualifying heat. This was a good break. I would be able to watch the styles and performances of the runners I might be facing if I was fortunate enough to get into the finals.
In 1936, we didn't know where the competition was. From rumors we heard that the best runners were men like Broschmeyer of Germany, Strandberg of Sweden, Ozendorf of Holland, Gribik of South Africa, and Yoshioka of Japan. I remember watching all 11 heats leading up to the time that I would take my mark. I would practice my starts, trying to get the rhythm of the German starter. Off die Plätze. Fertig. Then the gun.
Auf die Plätze. Fertig.
Sasaki of Japan stayed with me for 50 meters. I eased up at the finish. Sasaki came in second. My time equaled the world record. In the quarterfinals, I would face Yoshioka, the Japanese sensation of the 1932 Olympics. Then he was the first Japanese runner to ever get into the finals. He was tremendously quick off the mark.
Auf die Plätze. Fertig.
Yoshioka stayed even for 50 meters. He was less fortunate than his teammate Sasaki. He finished 4th and was eliminated. This was perhaps a perfect race for me. I broke the existing world and Olympic record. The chancellor could now watch the German champion Erich Broschmeyer in his quarterfinals. Broschmeyer won his first heat without trouble. Broschmeyer was the German hope in the 100 meters. He was powerful, built like a football halfback, and could run. Broschmeyer wins, followed by Sweeney of Great Britain and McPhee of Canada. The quarterfinals were now over. The picture was now clear. Broschmeyer, Strandberg of Sweden, and my teammate Ralph Metcalf. All 4 of us had won our first 2 races.